Mm, I'm using the three different backend services, like the one from the Node.js, one from the Java, and one from the Python. So I try to deploy the all the three services independently from the in the another pods. So while they communicating to each another, they use the services by their names to communicate with each other, but try to get the all the services independently as running on the pods.
That makes sense for separation of concerns. Now, when you update one of those services, like the Java one, how do you ensure the other two, the Node.js or Python ones, don't break if their interfaces or expectations change? Are you using any versioning or strict contract definitions?
Yeah, I'm I'm integrating the versioning in the while the making of the Docker images for the any containers. While the running of the pods, you have to fetch the any containers images from the Docker hubs. So while I am pushing the images to the on the Docker hub, while the any after any updates, I am versioning about the v1s with the 01 v1 to the z2 02 and this type. So in the upcoming, as the we do the upgradations, the next time while running the containers, they fetch the upgraded version of the images.
Versioning certainly helps with rollback and tracking changes. Now, even with versioned images, if Service A updates and its API changes, Service B might still require an update to handle that. How are you managing those dependencies? Are you using shared libraries, consumer driven contracts, or some other method to coordinate those changes?
uh, I doesn't I do not have any idea about this. Actually, I am not doing this up to yet. I am the beginner in the Kubernetes and only building the projects to fetch the any images from the Docker Hub and try to run that images on the pods to interact with the for the communications. I use the pods through the services. That's all.
That's perfectly fine. We can focus on another area. You mentioned using different backend technologies. Say a service is experiencing high load and responding slowly. How would you troubleshoot or monitor that specific service within the Kubernetes cluster to pinpoint the problem?
I do not get your points. Can you repeat?
No problem. If a service gets slow, how would you figure out why? Are you using any monitoring tools or commands to look at its resource usage, like CPU or memory, within the Kubernetes cluster?
Yeah, I am using the horizontal and the vertical load balance automated scaling. In the case of the any maximum use of any CPU and the memory, we go with the auto scaling. But to monitoring and visualizations of the uses, whatever the resources are using by the ports, I use the Prometheus and the Grafana for the visualizations and alerting of uh, the resources used over the limits.
Excellent. Using Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring is a smart move for visibility. Now, thinking about security, how are you managing access to the cluster itself? Are you implementing role based access control or some other method to ensure only authorized people can make changes?
So in the case of the security, I am using the ingress and as well as the reverse proxy as Nginx and the Apache for the redirecting the IP addresses to the domain. Uh, that's all.
Those are good strategies for managing external traffic. But for managing access within the cluster itself, how do you control which users or services can deploy new pods or access sensitive data? Are you using role based access control, also known as RBAC?
Actually, I do not have any idea about this. I have to go with this too in the in the practice sessions in the more.
Understood. Security is a broad topic, and role based access control is a key part of Kubernetes security. We can move on to another area then.
Okay.
Can you describe how you handle persistent storage for your applications? If a database pod restarts, how do you make sure the data isn't lost?
Actually, I am using the persistent volume for the storing and reclaiming of the data. Actually, I am using persistent volume for the giving the some space for the storage, and I use the persistent volume claim to mount the that request of volume to the pods, to whether the pods is going to be the run out and stopped, the whether otherwise the storage and otherwise the data will be the safe inside the any node.
Okay, using persistent volumes and persistent volume claims is standard practice. But if a node completely fails, how do you ensure that your data persists and any pod that gets rescheduled can still access it? Are you using network storage like NFS or some other cloud provider storage solution?
Currently, I am not go with the any advancement of the any integration of the AWS storage system to the cloud, that is Kubernetes. Actually, I am as a big beginner for this learning stage for the Kubernetes, and in more I learn more.
No problem at all. We can pause the interview here. It sounds like you have a good grasp of the basics and a clear plan for what you want to learn next, like RBAC and stateful storage. Best of luck with your learning journey.
So, you are not going to ask them more questions?
Based on your previous responses and your mention of wanting to practice more in certain areas, I thought we were wrapping up. If you'd like to continue, I can certainly ask more questions, maybe about your experience with services or configuring Ingress. What would you prefer?
You have also the too many or more tools are there, like the Docker, Jenkins, and Linux is also there. So you have to ask from these all too.
Right. Let's keep going. So, you mentioned working with Jenkins. Can you describe how you've used it to build a continuous integration pipeline? For instance, what steps did you include in the pipeline and how was it triggered?
So while using the Jenkins, I always prefer from the Jenkins to the git trigger on the any push command in the git to the directly deployment and with the upgradations. So I include the too many stages in that pipelines. The first stage always to the first from the basics. I try to I use the uh, web hook web hook webhook from the GitHub to trigger that's Jenkins pipelines and Jenkins jobs on the any push command to the GitHub, specific with the any repo. So after that, the stages first is to just clone, just push back, pull the all the updates, new updates from the any repo to the our own systems or any worker node and the any word. And after that, you have to check the environments are completely there or not regarding the that's repo and that's a server and the applications. Then after, I have to make the images of that repo. After that, we are going to the push that image to the Docker hub. After that, we have to execute the Kubernetes files and Kubernetes YML configurations, manifests to deploy in the direct updates to the industry levels, and also integrating that to the uh, AWS clouds. And after that, that the whole process will be done smoothly.
Using webhooks for automatic triggers is a great way to keep your deployments current. Now, can you tell me about a time when your pipeline failed? What was the issue and how did you troubleshoot and fix it?
So yeah, while integrating the webhooks with the Git, I faces to connect the webhook to the one repo to the directly Jenkins. I watched too many YouTubes and see the documentations on the basis of this whole process. After that, I just solve this issue and one challenges, and after that, one one major challenges I facing while the creating the images, uh, while creating
It sounds
images. Okay, I'm explaining something that while creating the images and running that images to the any pods. So at that time, we have to clear all the before the uh, uh, just fetching the updated images to the pods. We have to clear all the before all the past repos and all the past images from that container to run the from the base that's upgraded. At that time, I'm couldn't be able to just clicking the all the elements are going to be going to just deleted or not. After that, too many go through the documentations, and after analyzing the logs of the what's the error is coming out, I just got the one error that is the some at the time of the running of the any ports. Actually, the upgraded images are not going to be the fetch from the that from the local or the Docker hub. The previous images are there in the local in the cache. They are actually using that previous images at the time of the recreating of the always running of the pipelines. That's the main problem. So even you have even the all the pipelines are triggered by the any push commands, and the changes are not going to be the shown in the that's uh,
the classic caching problem. It's frustrating when Kubernetes keeps grabbing that old cached image. So, did you solve it by making sure your deployment explicitly fetches the latest image every time, maybe with an image pull policy update? Or did you try something else?
Actually, at that time, I am not integrating the Kubernetes with this. I am using the Docker containers at that time, integrating the. I'm locally I am building the images, and locally I am going to be the run on that images to the containers. So at that time, I am not have idea to just to delete for every running of the pipelines. You have to delete all the previous caches, all the previous images, containers, volumes you have to keep that volumes safe, but you have to clear all the images and the containers to fetch the new upgraded images, recreated images for the any update showing in the deployment.
Right. When you're managing it all locally with Docker, caching can really trip you up. So, did you find a workflow to always make sure you're starting with fresh containers and images when you rebuild, like running commands to stop and remove old ones first?
Yeah, I used that.
Perfect. So, we've covered continuous integration, Docker, Kubernetes, networking, storage, and monitoring. Do you want to discuss any other aspect, like how you manage alerts or manage multiple environments? Or
That
maybe something else?
that's good for this for the today's sessions. Actually, from above all the conversations we do as interview interactions, you now you have to give the feedbacks, whatever the area I have to focus, whatever the area I made in the mistakes in any communications skills and all the things. You have to give me the brief about my feedback.
Overall, Sahil, you showed a good